one of the men who had a whole lot to do with developing the East Bay and gets hardly any mention anywhere. You can hardly read his name here, but it says Alfred A. Cohen. Alfred A. Cohen was I'd say in the beginning when he first showed up, he was some kind of a bank clerk that got embroiled in a bank failure and some kind of a lawsuit, and somehow or another he was thrown in jail. And while he sat in jail, he did what most good prisoners do, is that he studied law. And as soon as he got out of jail, he took the bar exam and he passed the bar exam. And somehow or another, and this is clouded in mystery, and I've broken my head trying to figure out how he ended up with the entire east end of Alameda, Fernside Boulevard. That he had a big, huge mansion. If you're familiar with Alameda, the entrance to the mansion was about where Versailles, or Versailles as they pronounce it in Alameda, and Buena Vista is. Big, huge mansion there, back there, all kinds of beautiful grounds. And he made his money because he started a railroad. In 1864, he built a railroad that went from the little town of Woodstock, which is way over on the tip of Alameda now. It went from Woodstock and then eventually down to Hayward and into San Leandro. It was called the San Francisco and Alameda Railroad. It was his railroad that was involved in that accident. It was his local train that was on the way to Alameda when that accident happened on October 14th. But Cohen built the railroad, and the railroad attracted all kinds of other interests and businesses and things to Alameda, and made Alameda grow to the point where they were hoping in a way, well, two things happened. They were hoping in a way to become the county seat of Alameda. For a while that didn't work, and Oakland coveted the land, the city a little bit, and there was actually a vote. They put it to the vote if they wanted to become a part of the city of Oakland. They said no. And then later on in 1902, the peninsula of Alameda became an island. Cohen was made very, very wealthy by the railroad. The Transcontinental Railroad boys, the Big Four, they bought his railroad. They paid him the handsome sum of $260,000. This was in 1868. It was a lot of money. And he owned his own railroad car. He could go anywhere he wanted for free. They hired him to work as an attorney on the railroad. And he died in Kansas on his railroad car on the way back from New York. And they brought him back here and they buried him here. And there's one interesting story I always like to tell when I stop at this plot, and it's that much later on, and this goes to the idea of how annoying the idea of this cemetery is, where people can take care of their own plots, where the Cohens paid the cemetery to take care of the plot, and apparently the cemetery groundkeepers didn't put the periwinkle in straight. So one of the sons wrote a letter to the superintendent saying, the periwinkle is crooked, so can you please go up and straighten out the periwinkle for us? And so this is why there's grass everywhere now, so we don't have to put up with this kind of thing. So there's one person here, and I'm standing here deliberately so I don't forget him. Edgar Cohen was a very, very, very talented photographer. A great, many photographs. He did all of Northern California, including Yosemite. If you go online, I think it's called California Views. There's a man in Monterey who owns his collection. I wrote a book about Alameda, and I put Edgar's picture of the family mansion in the book. And right now, I'm negotiating with this guy for 30 more of his pictures. We're going to do a Then and Now book of Alameda for next year. So we can't call it Then and Now, because they've already got the title taken yet.